Welcome back to Make a Bob. Today we're going to be finishing off those nozzles we made in the previous video. Here we're going to take one of the nozzles we made in the previous video, just giving it a quick inspection before we put it into the lathe. We're going to part off that nib at the front, and then we're going to drill through with a 1mm drill bit. Now that we have it securely in the lathe, we're just going to run it a couple of times to make sure it's running as true as possible. Here you can see that it's running fairly true as it's going to be with this 3-drill chuck. Now we're going to start off with the parting tool. This parting tool is going to get rid of that nib and create a flat surface for us to be able to drill into. As this is such a small drill bit, we won't be starting it with a center drill. I find with these tiny drills, it is easier to just use the tool, like the parting tool, as a rest against the drill bit to try and get it to drill through in the center. You can hopefully see as I start to drill, the drill bit's wobbling back and forth. I then bring in the parting tool so it's just touching the drill bit and it'll stop wobbling, and then we'll just start pecking the drill, and then we can back off the parting tool and continue drilling. That drill bit no longer wobbling, and we're just doing light pecks with the drill until we break through to the other side. It is very important with small drill bits to take light pecks so that you don't put too much tool pressure and snap the drill bit into the part. And there we have it, another successfully drilled nozzle. Now that is finished, let's remove it from the chuck and have a quick look. And there we can see a very centered 1mm hole. Now I'd have to use some dowel pins or something to verify that it is 1mm, but for this purposes, it's close enough to 1mm. And now it's time for us to attack the thread on the back of the nozzle. And we're going to use the milling machine for this. So I've loaded it up onto the vise, and I've made sure I've got the barrel of that thread as vertical as possible. And now I'm going to bring it into the center of the spindle so I can use it to help align the die onto the shaft. Now that I have that close to center, I'm going to bring down the spindle nose. Then I'll bring in the die and I'll do the final line up. Now I'll push the spindle nose down to the back of the die handle here, once I've got it in the center, and then I'll use pressure on the back of that and I'll start threading it by hand. Now the die handles hit the back of the spindle here, so I'll just lift the head up, push it around a little bit and keep going. Again, we're just using the spindle nose to help line the back of this die up as straight as we can with the barrel. And now that we've got it started, we can just start tapping it by hand with the spindle nose removed so we can see what's going on. As this is brass, I don't need to do any chip breaking. It's creating quite good chips and the thread is forming quite well. Now once we get to the bottom, we'll just take it all the way off. I'll then adjust the die a little bit to make it a little bit tighter, and then we'll go back down and we'll just make sure that the thread is fully formed. And with that thread cut, we have completed the nozzle. So we'll just back it off here. I'll find the brush and give it a little bit of a clean, removing any of those chips that we can so we can see the threads fully. We'll just check how well the thread fits. And that's fitting the barrel perfectly. Now let's remove it from the vise and have a bit of a look. So here we have the finished nozzle, and I'll show it threading into the barrel. So as you can see, it threads in quite easy, and it fits flat up against the nozzle. Here is what we're replacing. This is a nozzle adapter that uses standard MK10 nozzles, and because of this it has a huge flow restriction. A quick look of it in action. That is it for today. Thank you for watching.